Good afternoon, Pep. Ben from Sky. Pep, we didn't know this when we spoke to you after the game, but it's since emerged that one of the travelling Manchester City fans was seriously hurt after the game in Germany. He's in a critical condition in hospital. I know the club are helping to support the family, but I just wondered if you might want to offer some well wishes yourself as the manager.
Yeah, we knew it after, of course, the terrible news. The family, father, mother, sister, and her brother going there. Unfortunately, it happened. Our thoughts, of course, and our best wishes for all of us, for them. And it's a tough news, really tough news. So football always is and a game, a spectacle to everybody enjoy it. And still, right now, this kind of thing happen. Unfortunately, hopefully, the police in Germany can solve that problem. It's the most important thing. The guys can recover and get well as soon as possible.
Thank you. The League Cup this year offers you the first chance to get a trophy in the cabinet. Did winning it last season have any impact in the success you went on to achieve that year?
We will not be arrogant. We'll be the second one. We won the Community Shield. It's in the first season. Yeah. What was the question?
The League Cup will be the second trophy in the cabinet. I think I was quite clear on that. But how much of an impact did it have last year when you won at Wembley for what you went on to achieve?
It was important. It was really important, yeah, of course. So in the Premier League, we were flying in that period, and it was days before we went out from the Cup in Wigan, and of course it was, of course, not the most important title of the season, but of course once we are here. And Wembley is in the mythical stadium, nice stadium in the top side against top side Chelsea. And okay, we're going to prepare tomorrow the game to win the final. It's important. Of course, once we're in final, it's try to enjoy it and compete well, improve. You have to play this kind of games and try to win.
The big news story today, of course, is that Chelsea have been hit by this transfer ban by FIFA for the next two windows. As one of your traditional challengers for the big titles, how does that impact them as a challenger moving forward? Does it weaken them?
In the future, I don't know. So because I'm not Chelsea, in the statement I cannot see anything in terms of the game. Not any impact for the players. Will be focused, and the managers will be focused to win the game against us.
Pep, Mandy from Premier League TV. City have never retained a trophy. How important is it that this club starts doing that if you're to be considered one of the big elite clubs in Europe?
Well, retain the title for itself would be important, but it's important because you win the title again. Most importantly, of course, win the title, definitely, but importantly as well is being there. After winning last season, being there again, that is the most important thing.
And in terms of the game on Sunday, it's 12 days since you had that huge win over Chelsea. This is a different game, but how good is it for the players to be able to have that victory in their minds, at the back of their mind?
In that moment, I was so happy to beat them 6-0. In that moment today, I would have preferred not to win 6-0 against Chelsea.
Simon Stone, BBC. In terms of the issue with Chelsea and the younger players, obviously the recruitment of all clubs has changed a lot since you were a player. Are there issues there? Do you think there are problems because players move around at a very young age all over?
I'm not concerned about the reason why they are banned. So I know something for the academy, but I don't know really. So I cannot talk about that, because I'm not the right guy or right person to talk about that. So I don't know. I know we changed a lot since my period when I was a football player, but of course the society is not the same years ago like now. So really, I don't know.
But there's a lot of competition for the best young players for all the top clubs in Europe.
Yeah, many players, all the players buy the players, and a lot of players buy our players, young players. So everybody do the same, but I don't know exactly what happened in Chelsea right now. So I cannot give an opinion because I don't know.
Hi, Pep. I'm Jamie Jacks from The Guardian. You said the other day that Bernardo Silva... I'm over here.
Sorry.
That's okay. That Bernardo Silva can play 3 or 4 positions. Where do you most like to see him play, and where do you see his future in your team? Is it more central midfield?
He's a typical number 10, I think so, behind the striker. But in Monaco, playing in the winger, making movements more inside. Here, when we play the winger, stay more wider. but he can play, I think, in the all positions in the middle, attacking positions in the middle, and the wingers.
And Leroy Sané had a really big impact the other night. He plays wide at the moment. Can he sort of play centrally? Could he learn from someone like Bernardo, who, is playing wide, he's playing centrally?
Leroy?
Yeah, Leroy Sané.
Still, he's not ready.
But maybe in the future, can you see that?
Maybe. He's not ready to play in the middle right now. To play in the middle, you have to be so good in the control the spaces. Your spaces, what happens around you, and still is not ready. Maybe in the future, hopefully we can help him.
Pep, Dom Talk Sport. You mentioned Sané on that position, but in terms of who is available, can we just clear up injuries? There's been doubts with Stones, obviously Mendy, Jesus.
Today was off. We didn't train him. Tomorrow we'll see, but the info that had the doctors getting better, all of them. But right now I cannot tell you if they will be able to next Sunday. You
mentioned there before the 6-0 just 12 days ago, that you were very happy then. Now you're not happy. What do you mean by that? You feel that Chelsea would have learnt a lot from that game, or what are your thoughts?
I don't like to play in a short period of time with one team when you beat him before. I don't like too much. In part for us, in part for the opponent. So they are incredible professional players. They are proud, own pride, and then they will do an extra. So when we lost 2-0 in Stamford Bridge, we cannot accept the defeat again here at home. So, but it's what it is. So we're going to face mentally as well as possible, play the final, improve what I said before, which kind of type of games you have to play when you play in finals, and do a good game and try to win the title.
And just finally, there is a game obviously before your game, Manchester United and Liverpool. Are you going to try and shield your players from watching that, hearing about that? What are you going to do about that game?
I think in that game we were in the stadium preparing, changing socks, pants, t-shirt, warm up, so underwear. So we'll be ready to to play the game. We'll have time to look at that game.
Hi Pep, Paul Hurst from The Times. You've played Aro Muric in every round so far. Will he start in goal on Sunday?
We will see. I have to think about it.
How impressive have you been with him? Because he obviously went out on loan. He wouldn't have been expecting to play for you this season. What's he been like this season?
I think it was important player to be where we are. So Leicester game, he was the important player in the penalty. So it was incredible. When he played really good. That's why we trust him. That is right now, for the situation from Claudio, is the second keeper from Man City. So we didn't trust him in transfer window or winter. In transfer window, winter time, we should have search and look for another player. So we trust him. That's why he's the second keeper for us this season.
Hi Pep, Enric Gil, Catalunya Radio. Last year in the Carabao Cup final there were plenty of yellow ribbons. A year later you are back at Wembley. This happens at the same time that Catalan political prisoners are in court in Madrid. What do you think about that situation?
Well, when I was 1 year ago what happened, I could not think 1 year later still they are there in prevention jail, and they are okay. The trial is going on. I listened a little bit the last days, all the chants and our politicians and other guys and women make their statements about they could explain what really happened. So they show us that they are accused of something they didn't commit. So and hopefully the judge can show really what happened and can release as soon as possible and come back with their families and their own lives. Because what happened the last day, they show us what they are already accused, they didn't commit it. So, and hopefully for everybody, not just from Catalonia, from Spain, to a better society for everybody, he can go out and come back for the normal life like never before. Never before could happen.
Pep, you're talking about the defeat at Stamford Bridge and how that kind of maybe drove you on for the game the other week. Is that the sort of thing that you mentioned in the dressing room beforehand, to remember that defeat, and does that drive your players on?
No, I didn't remember that. So it's a long time ago, but I think when that happened, you don't want to lose 2-10 for the same opponent, but we didn't speak about that. We focused in that game especially. Chelsea demanding you a lot of things in terms of is the team maybe one of the best in Europe when you have to be more consistent defensively. They are able to take your ball during 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Normally it doesn't happen. And they are able to do that, so they are more consistent defensively. And the spaces to attack is minor, especially for the movement for Jorginho. They help a lot to make the transition, the forward, backwards, really well. And of course the quality of the players they have, especially Hazard, William or Pedro or Higuain or the other ones. So we were focused on that. And tomorrow will be the same, focus on what you have to do to win the game in tactical approach. It's a final. I think the players, they know exactly what does it mean to play a final.
Can I just ask, if Muric wasn't to play on, if you didn't pick him on Sunday, would you sit him down and explain the reasons for that?
No, I didn't take the decision.
No, if he didn't play though, if you chose not to pick him, would you explain?
Well, I don't know. So normally I don't give them many reasons why they play or they don't play, the players. So because they know there are many reasons. Sometimes it's tactics, sometimes it's locker room, sometimes it's because it's lack of confidence or they are not in top what I believe or I think they could be. So I don't know. I didn't think about it.
Hi Pep, Sam Lee from Goal. Can I just ask about Fabian Delph's situation? He hasn't featured too much, pretty much since the red card at Leicester. Has that been a factor in him not being in squads, or is it fitness or something else?
He was injured many times in that period. Not the big problems, but one day was thought to play, was the day after was problem in the ankle, and the last days it could be they were sick, and the recovery was not good, and that was the reason why. And the other issues because I trust with, in that case, Alex, on the other one in that position. But in the last period, was not able too many days to train.
And just going back to Jamie's question about Sane, and you speaking about him not being able to play in the middle, do you mean as a number 8, or do you mean playing on the right hand side and coming in like Bernardo does? You said
he
he's
can
not
play
ready.
in the middle. They can strike to make runs in behind. But playing in the middle, he can do it. Yeah, come inside. But I think it's better player being wider, and of course can do it. I'm not saying he cannot do it, but these kind of movements, we have better players to do that job. That is what I'm talking about. So the people come inside, like for example David or Bernardo, or even Riyad, or even Phil, for example, like is incredible player in smaller spaces close to the back four for the opponent. They are better players than Leroy. But Leroy, I think, is the best player in the world, wide and making movement, runs in behind, and these kind of actions. And that's why we prefer to use him in where his strength. And the strength, I believe, is to be wider, 1-against-1, when the people have ball, making movements to the goal. I think that is an incredible player.
Hi Pep, James Robson, Standard. Maurizio Sarri is obviously under a lot of pressure, which wasn't helped by the 6-0 against you. I wonder if there are similarities with your first season, because he's very certain he's not going to change his ways, and you were exactly the same. Will the success that you've gone on to have, could that perhaps help him maybe make Chelsea's owners be a bit more patient with him than they have been with just about every other manager?
But the situation, I think, is a little bit different. In the terms of my first years, never the club doubted me. I was never in the releasing the media that the people is going to sack me if I lose this game or the other game. Never happened. So always I was surprised when Conte won the title and they lose 1 or 2 games in the beginning of the season. The people start to say they are going to be sacked. I said, wow, but they won 2 months ago the Premier League. So the situation is completely different. So in the situation, I said after when we lose there and after when we won here. So my opinion about Sarri, about their teams, is always high standards. So I reviewed the game against us. Maybe the people don't believe me. They did any incredible things. So what they did it incredible. But the first goal, they were a mistake, like they were not attention. The second one, Barkley make a mistake, and when that happened, the second goal is from at home. Sergio scored incredible goal there. So when that's happened, it's tough for the managers or for the teams, again to involve. But they did many good things. That is my feeling. We spoke with my staff, with Mikel, with Rodo, and they had the same opinion. So the pressure they had was quite well, and they play good, but we were so clinical in that game. In the 4 or 5 times we arrived, we scored 3 or 4 goals, and always helps a lot, these kind of things.
Of course, Chelsea were a team who, for a long time, you were seen as a potential manager of them. Given the way that, you say when you came here, the club were totally behind you the whole time. Is that the sort of thing you looked at when you were picking your next club?
No, I never.
Chelsea obviously have that record of hiring and firing.
No, I never was a potential option to be manager from Chelsea. So I think I was in Barcelona to win Bayern, come here. And
they liked you.
Sorry?
They liked you. You may not like
thank
them,
you.
But they liked you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. No, not for that reason. I decided to go to Munich after Barcelona, and after I came here, especially because Chiqui was here, Ferran was here. And I knew that when we're talking about what we want to build or what we try to want to do, I trust them and they trust me. So that's why in the first season, when maybe the people expect after 6 games you have to be champion of the Premier League, so the situation sometimes is difficult, it needs time. I said many times in my first season, I think Mauricio is the same, so you need time. So the people support me here, the club support me. That's why the players know who's the manager, and who will be the manager, and everybody's in the right situation. After that, you can win and you can lose, but it's stable. That is the best way, I think, to build something for a long time, not just for one short period.
Okay, guys, embargo, please, for 10:30 on Saturday evening.